go up, I kick the door as hard as I can. I get it open about 12, 14 inches with that kick.
Hey! Show me your hands! Hey!
And I see him get one more plunge into like the top of her shoulder.
Sit down! Sit down! Show me my on the ground!
And sent a couple rounds. He never got another stab in on her. He crumples kind of over her. She's able to kind of skirt away. He goes to stand up, starts walking towards her. I sent the third round, and he finally goes down.
To me, Mr. Redlich, let's be formal.
I'm not calling you Mr. Redlich. Anyways, in studio, Stockton Police Officer Mark. We don't want to share your last name. How about that? Do you want to share your last name?
That's fine.
All right. Only because you're still active as a cop, and we kind of keep our last names and where we work out of it. So, but
totally good
with
that.
the Stockton Police Department. And Mark, you have a crazy story to share with us today, and we have the body cam footage to show. We're going to show the viewers. We're going to talk about all of it. Essentially, I mean, it was a hostage rescue.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
It was
Mark's
crazy.
first reaction when he saw the video was pretty good. He's like, "Holy shit, that's wild."
Yeah.
It is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to that, and we're gonna show the viewers the video. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing and blurring on that one because it's quite graphic.
I actually did some research on bodily fluids and how much you can lose and still survive. So I'll share all that in a little bit. But
By bodily fluids, you mean blood?
yeah.
Okay.
So we do want to thank the Stockton Police Department and your chief for having you come on to the episode and talk about this incident. It's a wild incident. So thank you guys for supporting that.
Yeah, and everything that I spoke with the PIO's office, they brought it up to the chief and the chief's office, and they were on board from minute one. And I think that's huge, especially in this day and age of policing to, let, us active folk share, the stories and everything that we go through.
Well, it's actually, I'm glad you touched on that because back in the day, we all know that no way in hell would a cop go on a public forum, much less a podcast on YouTube, and share stories about whether they've been involved in a shooting or really anything cop related. Like that didn't used to happen. It would never be allowed to happen. If anybody from the media would ever come up and ask you a question,
You never answered.
you would never talk to the media.
But with body cams coming out now, it's all public.
Yeah, it's all
people get to see it. But and this is a great platform to share your side of it and insight of like what your emotions are, you're thinking about, how it happened. It's
really behind the scenes, yeah. And like you said, thank you to the Stockton Police Department for allowing that because not all agencies are on board with that. And it does give a very good perspective of what is going through a cop's mind frame of when these things happen. The community wants to know about it. You're good friends with Poncho, who was in here, who did the episode with Officer Jimmy Inn, who was shot and killed in the line of duty. And if you go back and read through a lot of those comments on YouTube, I mean, a lot of them were community members in Stockton who really appreciated hearing that story. So I think it's great PR for departments to be able to allow cops to do this. I mean, obviously we don't sit here and glorify, death and the shooting of somebody, but it's everything are kind of around that. And so anyways.
Yeah.
The one thing we don't have of Poncho though is a picture of him creeping at the front door like we have of you.
Yeah, we actually snuck a photo of you while you were creeping around downstairs at the front door.
Yeah, when you let us know, you're like,
nice.
We will show.
Yeah, when you're like, oh, hey, we're here. We're like, all right. And then we walk up. We're like, oh my God. Okay. And then we're like, we got to get a picture. And I actually took a picture of Kyle taking a picture of you. So Kyle was super creepy taking your picture because it's like how the balcony works and stuff.
So we wanted to test your abilities as being a good cop of like your situational awareness.
You had none.
And it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So if we had to grade you, you would have got a 0 because you weren't paying attention to the huge glass doors in front of you with two dudes on the balcony for at least a minute taking pictures of you.
So I looked like several times up there and saw all the lights.
Sure you did.
Yeah, but you didn't
And then I started looking around and I'm like, this is a really nice city and it's a Saturday and I'm pretty sure I'm good here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, when you
you're
walked
good
in,
here.
your facial expression was like, "Are we in Hawaii?" Just the ambiance of our.
What was your first when you walked through the foyer area, I guess, and then it kind of goes into the court. We'll call it the courtyard.
Yeah, it's a courtyard. It's
the Hilton courtyard.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's better than the Hilton. It's more like like the Maui.
It is definitely like in whole. If you were to go out there and take pictures, which it's funny because you did ask to like lay in the sand and have us take your picture.
That was weird.
Yeah,
that was a little weird.
We're like, we just met, and you're like, hey, can I lay in the sand over here and get my picture?
And then he asked to go under the waterfall.
I
was
know,
like,
we're like,
no, the sign says don't play in the waterfall or the sand.
Yeah.
They knew you were coming because it said, your shirt must remain on.
Yeah.
There's no mermen allowed. I walked in and I was like, this is a very odd place for a golf course, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm at Funworks or.
Our office building it's a massive 3-story building, and the whole interior is open with a 9-hole putting golf course with bridges and
it's weird.
waterfalls, tropical flowers. It's basically Maui inside of this.
I think you guys should kidnap some flamingos. They might have a nice.
We should get some flamingos.
Some flamingos might be a
How
good
about the
ad.
next time we go to the Vegas and Mark literally put us in the Flamingo Hotel, which is absolutely disgusting.
That was a mistake.
We'll just take some from there and bring them back here.
Yeah, some fake ones.
Yeah.
Or
That was
some
a
real ones.
terrible experience, by the way.
I think we need real ones.
Yeah,
no, they are. They have real flamingos there, so we'll just kidnap them from there.
Yeah, just kidnap some flamingos.
Dude, that would be the icing on the cake down there. If there were flamingos down there or some like exotic bird, I mean, that would be. I might camp down there actually.
Yeah.
If
we
had
have
that.
Dan Chip camps in our studio, so
Yeah, that's weird. Dan, actually, he's in the corner over there. You can't see him. He's hiding behind the back.
sleeping.
but-
Yeah.
Just creeping. You know what I mean? If you guys ever fall behind on rent, you could just rent to, the local kids as like a
photo shoots for prom,
photo shoots,
family photos.
high school, golf, teams, random kids, and just call it Funworks, but like PHUN instead of the F for trademark reasons. You guys got all kinds of business opportunities.
We've yet to find a guest who's been willing to go sit and pose and take a picture and then post it on their social media and be like, quick trip to Costa Rica.
Yeah. I mean, you wanted your picture, but you didn't want to post it.
That was a little weird, but for your own personal reasons. But so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Scooter.
Oh,
What's the deal with that?
No, we're just kind of curious.
Yeah. What's up with Scooter, dude?
oh, Poncho. Oh, Poncho.
Yeah, it sucks when your friends get to us before you do. So do you want to tell us what Scooter's all? And let me just say this, dude. I actually did you a solid because Poncho wanted me to have you wear a 3-piece suit today and say that this was based on a certain sponsor that we had. You had to dress super professional. I did you a solid and I was going to do it. And I thought, you know what? I don't know the guy. And I also don't want you showing up in a 3-piece suit because that would just look a little funny on the podcast. So I spared you that. But I do want to ask what's up with Scooter. The floor is yours, dude. Go ahead.
Oh, Poncho. Well played. Well played. See? I guess, you know what? Good for him. Because if I would have been here first, he'd have got the same one. So the Scooter nickname was from a elementary school teacher. He was in the junior high. I was in elementary school.
Is this going to get weird?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because we're mandated reporters still. Don't forget.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
There's
we're good?
no,
Okay.
There's no 288 thing.
Okay.
So I'm in
All right.
elementary
Just to make
school. This guy who gave me the nickname is a junior high school teacher, but his sister lived across the street from me and taught at the same school.
In my realm of stuff, this is getting
It's sounding weird. Yeah. Like your elementary school is nicknaming you Scooter.
And
so.
his sister and like,
So yeah, like
you're in elementary.
This guy's sister lives across the street from me. He's visiting her on a Saturday, probably to mow her lawn. And there was this neighbor who had like this scooter, and I was like, "Hey man, like, let me ride this thing." And he's like, "Yeah, in a minute." Well, a minute was like a half hour, and finally I'm like, "I'm riding your scooter," and I pretty much strong armed 211 the scooter from him. And
What kind of scooter are we talking about?
This was
like a Razor scooter?
Yeah, no, this was late 90s or
Yeah, he's in
sorry, not
elementary
late
school.
90s, late 80s.
like a classic old,
Yeah,
probably
like the
super
old
wide.
school, like had the pneumatic tires.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like late 80s, early 90s, you know, it had the handbrake on it and everything. And so he pretty much witnessed me strong arm 211, the neighbor kid, for his scooter. And
So I think
that
what's funny
stuck.
is like most people would have told the story like this. Gee, I got this nickname as Scooter, and I was at a friend's house. I went to the neighbor's house. They had a scooter. I really wanted to ride it. They wouldn't let me, and I basically strong-armed them. But you like went in depth, and you're talking about this teacher that you were
That
super
groomed
close
you,
with.
and then,
his sister.
Yeah.
we all lived next to each other.
You paint a good picture. I appreciate it. I appreciate
He
it.
nicknamed me Scooter. It's not weird.
No, guys, this story isn't
Yeah. As he's sharing the story, he's like, yeah, come to think of it, he did put his hand on my back one time.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
tell you
he's-
what, the Stockton boys, I don't know.
Yeah, what yeah, dude, what's going on with these? You gave them all these accolades, and
Yeah, I still will. Stockton boys, for sure. You guys are a studly
Yeah.
department.
we still give a shout out to the Stockton guys.
Yeah.
We're different.
Yeah.
Oh, we
We're-
know
we're
you
cut-
guys
we're
are
cu-
different.
We're cut from a different cloth.
Yeah,
But-
clearly.
Before we get into your incident, because this is a very wild story, I want to give a shout out to Paige really quick. So when Kyle and I travel, we travel all over and we meet people everywhere. And in one of our mission, the things that we always talk about is we always give people the time. If they want to talk to us, we give them our time. We don't rush things. We're not rude. Like, we give people our time. And I was actually at dinner last night, and the hostess, as I was leaving, ends up kind of stopping me and says, "Hey, do you have a podcast?" Because not everybody knows how to approach somebody. And I was like, "Oh yeah." So the people at the restaurant that I was at, Kristen, Paige, Gage, the bartender,
Which
awesome
I'm
group of
shocked
people.
you're remembering their names right now, because Mark doesn't remember anything, not alone names. So
Well, you got to
good-
remember
well
the people
done.
that serve you, because they're great people. So it was really cool to talk to those people and to be recognized there at a place that I went to. So it was cool.
Yeah,
So,
that is cool. Yeah, it is. And you know what's funny is if we do, people recognize this. Like, it happened to me at the gym last week. In fact, dude's name was Kyle. He was quite proud of that. But it's funny because you're like, "Oh, are you a cop too?" And most people are like, "Nah." They're like, this dude Kyle was like, "Yeah, I'm in sales." We met another guy in the Nashville airport, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I work for Microsoft."
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Where were we? Chicago that one time with like these like punk rock band guys walked up to us and I guess watched the show, and Mark's like, "Oh, you guys cops?" And they're like, "No way, dude. We're in a punk rock band. We're traveling to San Diego to do a show." I was like, "What?"
So random.
Yeah. The guy at the Nashville airport, he was pretty rad. He was super
cool.
nice, like very calm. He's like, people, you can just tell him, we're like, "Hey, dude, let's get a picture." And he's like, "Okay." And we're like, no, like, we're not going to do it here in the crowd. Like, we're going to actually find a place. So we found a really good location for
Yeah,
a
he was
backdrop
cool.
for him. Yeah, he was cool. So,
Had a robotic arm,
yeah.
bicep. or something.
Yeah, towards bicep.
Anyways,
All
anyway, so cool. That's how you got the nickname Scooter.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't have to like report anything.
No.
Just off of that. All right.
It's just like one of those things that you keep in the back of your mind. You're like, maybe I'll revisit that later.
Yeah. You know, Poncho's laughing right now watching this.
100%.
Yeah.
And what's up with
100%.
the? He sent me an Instagram page that you guys have like muchacho stickers or.
Jeez.
What is this, dude? You guys going around slapping "What's up, muchacho" stickers on it? Like,
That. Oh, yeah. That.
This is actually an intervention, just so you know.
Yeah.
Poncho's actually
Yeah,
on
he's-
the other side of that door.
Yeah, he'll come in.
And I would punch him in the face. That is an Instagram page that he started. I have no involvement with this page. And it was a mullet wig that I had bought for a costume. And our wellness program started just recently doing, they call it a blue run, and it's fundraising for the chaplaincy and the wellness group. And the first year they did it was right after Jimmy, and someone said, like, I might have worn it in a couple roll calls, just for fun.
Yeah, we have the photos. Don't worry.
Oh,
Yeah.
touche.
So go ahead.
I could see that.
Did you say toupee?
Yeah.
Yeah. And someone just was like, I dare you to like wear that to the run. I was like, you don't double dog dare me. I'm sure Poncho probably
Twist
also
my
sent you
arm.
that
Yeah.
photo. And if he hasn't, I guess I just screwed myself.
I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah. okay,
Yeah.
Poncho, you got one coming for you, buddy. But anyways, so like I wore it at the run, and it's just someone, I don't even know who took a picture of it, and it's with this mullet wig, and I'm like holding a Starbucks coffee thing. And then next thing I know, all of a sudden they're like, I would always like walk up to someone like, hey, what's up, muchacho? You know, they always give me a hard time. Oh, geez, here it comes.
No, go ahead. I keep talking. I'm listening.
And so it was kind of like one of the things to say, like, what's up, muchacho? You know, just having fun with it. And then next thing I know, there's stickers showing up. And I mean, they're on lockers, they're on people's little insulated tumblers. And I'm like, what is going on? I'd have random rookies.
Okay, so you described the scooter incident in depth, but you're not describing this.
Yeah, what's up with
this
this like,
wig?
You look like the
Mullet wig. It's
dude.
like
You look like
it's
the
blonde.
Tiger King right here, dude. Is that?
it's like Joe Dirt.
yeah.
It's like Joe Dirt.
It's the Tiger King.
Is it
You
the
know-
Tiger King?
Yeah, you know who the Tiger King is, the dude that's in jail now. It was a
Oh,
huge
that's-
Netflix show.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's definitely Tiger King right there.
So
So this is the Sup Muchacho page that we're apparently talking about.
That's really funny.
So yeah, that picture. So that is, we called it, the tiger's name is Pecos because he came from Pecos Drive up in North Stockton. There's actually a funny story about that. That was a call for service where a neighbor was moving out, and so they had like had a garage sale, and they had finished the garage sale, and one of the things that was left in the driveway, again, in a residential Stockton, is this stuffed tiger. They hadn't pulled it into the garage yet. The next door neighbor didn't know if it was a real tiger or not.
Oh God! Seriously?
So you're starting. Oh, it gets far better. Stand by. It gets better. So if you saw this and you were that other neighbor, like, is this real or not? There's probably 1,000 different ways of maybe possibly finding out if this is fake or real. Would walking up about 15 feet away from it to throw a small rock at it be one of them? No, right? This neighbor literally was like, hey, I think there's a real tiger in my neighbor's driveway. I went and threw a rock at it to find out if it was real. It's fake. And I'm like,
Is that the call for service?
that was a call for service. God is my witness. That was a call for service. So one of my sergeants says, hey, he hits me up on the MDC. He goes, drive up there and see if that tiger is still up there. We need it. So, of course, again, you don't double dog dare me. I drove up there. I was
With your mullet wig on?
the
Tiger King?
the mullet wig wasn't. But I walked up and the tiger's missing, and I'm like, oh man. I was almost gonna just walk back to my car and be like, all right, wave the white flag. And I was like, nah. I was like, hey, apparently you guys had a tiger out there. They're like, you guys already came. Like, how is this a thing? I'm like, it's not a thing. Like, if you guys are like, I'll buy it, like, whatever. And they're like, we don't want any more calls for service. This was supposed to go in the trash. I don't know why the neighbor was throwing a rock at it. And they start going into who throws a rock to find out if this is a real tiger or not.
Well, how can you not tell that a stuffed animal is not
Right.
real?
And so I collected it and I brought it back, and we call that the Pecos roll call therapy tiger.
Awesome.
So it's
Is it still there? Is it still in roll call?
it's in roll call. Sometimes it's on the back bench.
Oh my God.
Sometimes it's up front.
That's funny.
Sometimes they have ceiling tiles like you guys have, and someone had punched the ceiling tile up and it was like
creeping out of
creeping down like it was supposed
That's
to.
actually funny.
it. That is pretty creative.
So that's Pecos, and I don't know how I was talked into that picture, but
Well, it sounds like you're easily talked into things.
Yeah.
You're one of the guys that's like, hey, Mark, we dare you to do this. You're like, ooh, you double dog dare me? Don't twist my arm. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
well, and like there's another picture.
And it's not a weird story unless you say this is not going to get weird.
Yeah, and
it's-
start out with your elementary teacher. Who's a guy? Well, shoot, dude. I want to get into this story, the shooting that you were involved in, because it is pretty wild. It's a pretty short. The Bodycam clip is fairly short, or at
Yeah.
least maybe that's how your PD slice it up. But what, February 3rd?
What's up, hon?
And Amy just walked up to her and told her that her father is 9/11 and her mother.
Where at? Are they inside?
Possible conversation is going to be or milk number. Okay, please, happy to have the party.
It's gonna be apartment. Hey! Show me your hands! Hey! Show! Sit down! Sit down! Get on the ground! 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 Get up! 22 shots fired! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Do not move! Get on the ground! Do not move!
Ma'am, come over here.
Get her out of here.
I was 10 years on there.
Okay.
This was last year.
Yeah, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I guess I'll back it up to kind of like getting into the training that I think helped me in that incident. And not trying to, confuse, the listeners and viewers, but going back to Jimmy and Poncho's shooting, I'd spoke ad nauseum with Poncho about what he saw, what he did that day. And then eventually it came to the body cam of his and Jimmy's getting released. And I was going through enough. I didn't want to watch it. I thought I had a pretty good picture in my head because I had talked to Poncho just at length. And his wife asked, hey, are you going to watch it? And I was like, to be honest, I'm like, I got too much in my head right now. And she goes, I get it. But she goes, I think you need to see it to see how good Poncho did on that call and what he did. And I was like, I make no guarantees. That's a game time decision. Well, it got given to us before it went public. And I watched it. And the thing that I took from that was at the time Jimmy was killed, I was 7 years on, I'd say, or somewhere close. And I'm not saying that I was God's gift to police work. I was just a beat cop. I didn't think I was better than anyone else. But I guess to some extent, I became complacent because in my mind, as cops, you always play the what if game, right? If I go up and there's, you kind of envision how your OIS is going to be. If that kind of makes sense, you kind of have that oh man, if I go up there and there's a guy with a gun, I'm going to do this, which anyone who's been in a shooting obviously eventually realizes the real thing is nothing like the what if brain you had.
Totally.
But I had played through any possible OIS and what I would do and how I would handle it. And then watching Poncho's video footage, reacting, immediately, getting on the radio, getting the pertinent information out, finding cover, and watching that, I know in my soul, and I can guarantee you it's in Poncho's too, as he's behind that car, I'm like, how is he restraining himself from running up there and getting Jimmy? I knew why, because it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
And Poncho 100% did the right thing, but it was one of those, and then him not shooting, trying to take a headshot on the guy who's moving because he's trying to strangle his kid out, who's, moving it. And he knew where his line in the sand was handgun skill wise. And hearing that and seeing that, I had to self-reflect myself and look inside and go, you don't know shit. And like, you need to start relooking at tactics. You know, I started looking at, would I, if I was in that same situation, have the maturity, the wherewithal to not do a kamikaze run and most likely get shot and maybe even killed just going to Jimmy. Like everything in every cell in your body wants to go to that door to get Jimmy, but good on him for realizing I want to be there, but this is a suicide run.
Yeah.
And I never shared that with Poncho until, you know, recently. That really stuck with me, where it's like, hey dude, like you need to relook at yourself. You need to relook at like, are you that good at what you do? So with that being said, I was a decent shot with both rifle and handgun, but I spent more time at the range. I did my stress inoculation, doing your push-ups, getting your heart rate up, putting myself as close to, I guess you could say, that imaginary, realistic situation, because I could static shoot all day long, but we all know like that's not what happens in the real world. I also went and joined the patrol rifle team, where it's all moving shooting. It's realistic shooting. Whereas, you know, the qual is, you know, 50 yards, you know, you're using a barrier. That will never happen in real life. So I spent time at the range with a handgun. I got on the patrol rifle team, where you're just getting just exponential amounts of extra training. I relooked at my tactics of, you know, do I approach? Do I not approach? Do I call? Almost re-envisioned everything, how I kind of did my calls. Because at that time I was an FTO, and my part is you need to know everything to the best of your ability to be a good trainer. And if I'm not pushing myself to be the best, how can I can expect my rookie to be the best if I'm not giving them everything? And if I don't train myself, I could put not only me, but a rookie in a bad situation. And so it was one of those things that I always took training serious, but I really took training serious from there. And Poncho came back after Jimmy's shooting, and he rode with me for a few months. And at that time, we go in 3-year cycles of your FTOs. I went through Jimmy's with a rookie that day, and my 3 years was coming up. Poncho had just come back to the streets. We're driving. I will never forget this. I'm at Charter and Airport. We're sitting at a stoplight, and he goes, "Hey man, are you going to take the stripes off? Meaning, are you going to stop being an FTO?" It's like, yeah, man. I was like having a rookie that day, and you know, just the normal stress of FTO. Like I'm done. He goes, I wish you wouldn't. And I was like, why? He's like, well, you know, he's like, I've worked around you for years. He's like, you're a hard worker. You put in beat pride into these kids. You don't cut them any slack. You're very hard, but you're fair. You're not a jerk to them. And he goes, quite honestly, he goes, I don't trust a lot of the people that I'm on the streets with to have my back. And he goes, I know as long as you're training, I can trust whoever got trained by you.
That's a pretty nice compliment.
And I was sitting there kind of like, and I'm sure I probably said something that was smart ass, like, okay, bro. But honestly, like that kind of like sunk in, like, wow, here's a guy who like handled a call like I would hope in my wildest dreams to ever handle. And then he said that, and I was like, huh. The more I thought on it, I'm like, he brings a valid point. We had some young FTOs at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so I re-upped for another 3 years after that. But yeah, I was done. And Poncho's like, nah, man, like, I'd like to see you stick it out and, you know, some more, like, you're good. And so, yeah, but sorry to segue that, but Yeah, February 3rd. It was Saturday. It was our first day back from our weekend. And started out like, every other normal day. You broke roll call, probably got some little energy drink or something. And I remember it was me and my partner that was on the call with me. We were both solos in our own car. We were in our little hiding spot, and we get the call, and it came out super vague. It just said RP, so the reporting party for those that don't know, said RP stated mom and dad are fighting. RP thinks dad might stab mom. That's it. No names, no phone numbers. We had an address, but that address in the Vista, it's like a block. You might have 123 street, right? But 123 has apartments, 326, 426, whatever. So you have separate apartments with that address.
Mm-hmm.
All we had was the address, which was a block of apartments. I knew there was between 6 and 10 apartments in that block, but we had nothing. So I went back to training, right? I started trying to run priors to that. Well, priors aren't attached to one big building. They're attached to an apartment. So I couldn't run priors for that apartment because I didn't have an apartment number. I ran the phone number that called in. We had no past record of that phone number calling in where I could reverse track it to, that's apartment, 123.
Yeah.
I did everything that I could to try and narrow it down to other than just this big, huge apartment building that had 6 or 8 different apartments. Couldn't get it. So I told my partner, I'm like, hey, let's go head down there. And
were you doing this research while you're driving, trying to get there, or were you stopped talking to him and you're just spending a couple minutes in the car?
So we did that prior to even leaving where we were hanging out.
All right. Which is pretty common for officers to do research on their call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Or
know
they should
that-
be.
Yeah.
as it should be, right? Because if I'm going to go up to, Joe's house, like I'm going to go see if I can find out what Joe is. If I know if he has warrants, because then if he's in the front yard, regardless of what that call is, like, hey Joe, stand over here real quick. Click, click, boom.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
So I did as much homework as I could, before. I did a little bit more homework on the way there, and we had nothing. Absolutely nothing. And in the Vista, it's not an area we are liked at all. At all. Pretty much kind of the same sentiment of where Jimmy was killed. So it's one of those places like you don't want to just hang out. So we both get there. Again, we're in separate cars, and I pull along the road, and it's a Saturday morning, 9:00, looking around, and I don't see anything, don't hear anything. And I tell my partner next to me, we got our windows down, like, hey, I'm going to try, ask dispatch for a callback, see if they got an updated location. He's like, okay. So I asked for it. They're like, yeah, no, we're still working on it. And it was at that moment, I don't know if it was God's intervention, because I don't even know if I could even physically hear a scream, but I swear that I heard a scream, and it was off to my left in what ended up being in the direction of where the apartment was. I was like, hey man, I think I just heard a scream over there. And he's like, where? I'm like, it's on the other side of this building, because we were parked in essence on the road, and the apartment was on the back side of that building. And so I said, hey, it's on the other side of this building. And he's like, oh, okay. And it was just that moment I see my partner's car kind of driving off, but then I also look left and I see an older Hispanic lady with a younger girl on a stairwell facing what ended up being the apartment, and the older Hispanic lady was on a phone. And I'm like, okay, this is a clue.
Yeah.
That's what we
And
call it.
right. So I look over, I see them. I'm like, okay, like even if they're not involved, they must know something. Well, and then at that point, I see this little girl come running up, and obviously everything was like, hello, she's involved. So I'm getting out, I'm rolling my windows up, locking the door. And the one thing that like still sticks in my head is the absolute look of sheer terror and fear in that girl's eyes. She's crying. I said, hey, hon, where's it at? At this point, we don't know anything. It's a unknown disturbance, 415C. We go to these literally hundreds of times a day. We get all the time like, oh, mom and dad are fighting. There's guns in the house, and dad's and then it ends up being like, no, we were like arguing out in the parking lot, but when she comes running up, I meet her looking at the sheer terror. I'm like, okay, something is going on. And I said, where's it at? And she starts running. I start running behind her, and I see she's got blood on her shirt. And I'm like, okay. It's at that moment that I now hear over the radio, hey, dad is 911-ing mom, which is our radio code for stabbing. I get this information maybe 30 feet from the door. Like literally 30 feet from the door. And I walk up, not walk up, I run up. I hear screaming from inside the door. I know we don't have an apartment number. And I'm like, okay, so I try open the door. It's locked. I remember like, hey, I got to get an apartment number. So, hey, we're apartment, 123. And I backed up because I'm like, I have to get in there. I'm kicking this door. And so I back up and I looked left because that's in essence the direction my partner drove off. And it was in my mind, I knew I was going in. I didn't necessarily want to go in by myself. I wanted a 2-man team. So I looked left, hoping he was literally going to hit noses with me. And I realized he ain't there.
And do you think it's because he drove around to the backside? Because you had said, hey, I think it's, so he's trying to get a better
So he ended
angle.
up, and the way that that's set up is there's like a grassy courtyard in the center. So once you have to walk in on foot. So once he drove off, he ended up going all the way around this block and then in essence parking back where we were. But in the meantime of him doing that this is happening.
Yeah, it's all happening now. Yeah.
And so I remember like looking left because I'm like, I'd really like a second man here. And I realized, I guess it's just me. And I'm just about to make my approach and kick it. And I hear like the audible thunk of like a lock. And I'm like, cool, it's open. So I run up, I try the door again. It's locked. I'm like, shit. So I back up. I'm like, loud noise or not, I'm going to kick this thing. And before I can make my approach again, the bloodiest soaked arm I have ever seen, and that's to include even horror films, opens this door. And I remember thinking, what horror film did you just get dispatched to?
Yeah.
And it wasn't a little bit of blood. I can see her arm from the elbow all the way to the fingertips, and it is completely soaked in blood. I go up, I kick the door as hard as I can. I get it open about 12, 14 inches with that kick, and I see him get one more plunge into like the top of her shoulder. And it was a 7-inch kitchen knife. And what I saw, like I knew it was obviously a real knife, but my brain almost contemplated it as like one of those like little magician knives that like collapse in. Because I saw the whole entire knife, and then all I saw was the handle like skin level. I used my body weight. I pushed the door the rest of the way, and I hear a metallic sound. What I was like, okay, that's probably the knife falling on the ground. And I see him fall back. And I come into that doorway, and the way that those brand new apartments are set up, and I knew this because I've been in those apartments. It's a horrible design. I don't know how they passed it, but it's a 2-story apartment, and there's no back exit. There's no porch. There's no fire escape. The only way you get in and out of that apartment is the front door. So I get this door open. I'm standing in the threshold of the door, and I have an angle of a shot, but I can't shoot because in my peripheral, I see her on the ground. She was just inside the door jamb. She's on the ground, and can we go into like specifics?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to shoot. And I just remember my brain going, nope. And I was like, okay. Like it throughout the whole scenario, I would say like, it was almost like red light, green light. You would see something and like your thought process is, I'm going to do this. And your brain's like, no, or yeah, okay, no, yep. And at that moment I was like, I got a shot. And my brain's like, nope. And I'm like, okay. He goes from laying on the ground and in one movement goes from laying on his back to upright. And in that moment, I've backed out of the doorway because I can see her slipping in her own blood, trying to get out because my brain's like, hey, idiot, you're standing in her only way of getting to safety.
And she's on her hands and knees trying to crawl out.
Yeah.
Covered in blood.
Covered in blood. It's
Covered in blood.
smeared on the door.
And the floor looked like it was just a bathtub.
She is clearly trying to get out watching that camera. Like she is escaping
Desperate to
on
get
her
out.
hands and knees.
And so at that point, I'm in the threshold. I'm like, I want to shoot, but I can't because two things. One, my brain's going, hey, idiot, you're blocking her only way of getting away from this guy. Two, she's in between me and him. And I'm like, if she gets up to run out, I hit her, which we have now screwed up our main objective here. I wanted to go. So I didn't like my angle. So you're taught, hey, if you don't like your angle, change it. I wanted to go in, but I knew there was other kids there. I figured that was one kid, but 2 adults and 1 kid aren't going to have a big, huge 2-story. So I knew there was other kids involved. I only had a snapshot of the doorway or the stairwell and the little bit into, I didn't know who was in this blind corner. I know back here is a kitchen. I was pretty sure there was no other suspects, but I didn't want to punch in and change my angle for several reasons because I didn't know if kids were huddled down here. Now I don't have a shot there either. The other reason is because me punching in, I would have been slipping and sliding in blood. It would have turned into a whole disaster there. And by me punching into the house, I would have put myself that much closer to the knife to get stabbed. So that's why I backed out of that doorway enough that she could get out. He goes from being laid down to hopping up on his feet in one motion. I hear the metal sounds like a knife skipping, and it sounds like it ends at what is now the open door, like at the very edge. I hear it skip, and then it sounds like it hits a door. So I'm like, okay, I know the knife's over there. Well, I'm like, I want you to get out, and I see her kind of starting to like make her way out, and I see him reach down, and I hear a SWAT trainer go, "You never shoot through a blind doorway. You never shoot through a blind doorway because you don't know what's coming through." On top of, I know that this doorway is, again, the only way for her to escape. So as much as, and I didn't have a good shot because he's hunched over, and I was like, if I start shooting, even though he's hunched over, I don't have a good
Backdrop.
the backdrop was maybe okay, but like I didn't have a good target.
Yeah,
he's
she's
hunched
right there.
over.
Like you don't have a lot of.
And
you're not
I'd
seeing
be
a lot.
shooting through a blind doorway that I know she's eventually going to try get out. And again, if I send those rounds and she comes out, I just screwed up our main objective again. So I couldn't. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, just get out. And he then gets it. He gets the knife up and he goes to stand up. And it was right at that moment, I'm like, I'm going to send a few quick ones. And her head comes and breaks the plane and is literally in the threshold starting to get out. And I'm like, I can't shoot now. And then I see him just grab that knife and he doubles up. And I just remember thinking, damn it, dude. We're really going to do this now? And sent a couple rounds. He never got another stab in on her after I got into the house, but he double fisted that knife and went to go plunge into her. I sent 2 rounds, stopped him from stabbing her. He crumples kind of over her. I knew he was right-handed because when I saw him stab her when the door first opened, I knew he had to be right-handed. When he went to first reach down by the door to grab the knife, he grabbed it with his right hand. When he came up, it was first in his right hand before he double clutched it. So I know he's right-handed. Well, after I sent those 2 rounds and he crumpled kind of on top of her, I can see his left hand, but I can't see his right, and I can't see the knife. And I ran up, and I was going to T-box him, and my brain's like, hey, idiot, you just closed the distance on a guy that you know is armed with a knife. You know he's right-handed, and you can't see his right hand. And again, if she stands up to run away, main objective is done again for the 3rd time. She's able to kind of skirt away. He goes to stand up, starts walking towards her. I sent the 3rd round, and he finally goes down. All 3 rounds hit, and he's still on the ground. And mind you, my body cam video is 10 minutes long. The public video, I think, is like 30 seconds or something. There is blood everywhere.
Yeah, it was pretty bloody scene.
And this guy is on his back, banging his head on the cement, mother effing us, shoot me in the fucking head, like screaming at us to kill him after he's already been shot 3 times. And I remember when he fell to the ground, I looked at his eyes, and the colors of his eyes were jet black. And I remember, like, when I locked eyes when he was first laying down on the ground, I remember this dude looks absolutely possessed. Like, you're fighting the devil right now. Like, this dude looks demonically possessed. And I've kind of made in a joke with people, like, I would never write a book because no one would ever read a book that I wrote. It would be a
crayons.
It would be a picture book that it was probably also co-authored by Poncho. But if I ever wrote a book, it would probably be titled "The Day I Shot the Devil," because this dude, I've seen some people that aren't, all there, drugs, mental health, you name it, in working the streets of Stockton for 11 years. But that dude took the cake. That dude looked like he had no soul. It was the craziest
It's crazy
thing I've ever seen.
It's not often that people get to see the fact that there are humans that are not actually human, unless you're in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it. I know you've seen it, Kyle, but it's rare to see that. But the reality is, like, there are people that, like you said, that don't have a soul or they don't actually exist, but there's a body there.
And yeah, absolutely. And the most upsetting thing is, so he had made comments to her. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you, and then I'm gonna make the cops kill me." I know for a fact he would have done something to those kids to get us to shoot them.
Yeah.
They ended up having 5 kids together. The girl who ended up coming out and running to get me was their 13-year-old daughter. So they had a 16-year-old nonverbal autistic daughter, the 13-year-old. Then they had an 11-year-old boy. And then I believe it was an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old girl. They were at the base of the stairs that you see in the video until I kicked the door in. That's when they ran upstairs because I never saw the other 4 kids. And so they had witnessed dad stabbing mom in the living room prior to me getting there. They heard the door kicked. They went upstairs. The one had run out, and that's where she got the blood on because the dad tried to grab her.
Oh my.
I know in my soul he would have done something to those kids had I not got there.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I'm not a hero in any of this. I just did my job. I did a job that I would expect another cop to do for my family, and I did a job that the citizens of Stockton would expect me to do. I didn't do anything above and beyond. I didn't do anything less. I did my job. The hero in all of this is that 13-year-old girl.
Yeah. No, that is amazing. Coming out and getting you, because had she not done that, he would have continued to stab her, and more than likely probably would not have gotten out of there.
Oh, 100% guaranteed. I've spoke to her, and hearing what happened inside there prior to that, she even in her own admission, she's like, I had seconds left. Seconds.
That's sad that a 13-year-old has to.
I mean, you could see in the video,
horrible.
she was on her hands and knees and opened the door. That's the last resort. Like, she's probably took all of her effort to get her hand up to open a door for you.
So, yeah, I guess this is a good time to.
Mark, we actually don't allow tobacco on the show. Okay. No, I'm kidding, dude. Go ahead. We don't care.
Kyle, actually, you wrote down a couple notes.
Yeah. So I'll circle back to that, but I'm curious, how many times did she end up getting stabbed?
She was stabbed 14 times.
Wow.
And
that's insane.
So the shooting goes down. My partner shows up. I'm like, hey,
he's wondering what just happened.
Well, yeah, he rounds the corner,
he hears the gunshots.
There's blood everywhere. Literally everywhere.
Yeah, I can only imagine what's going through his head.
Yeah. And but yeah, he comes, and I now see the knife. It's in the threshold. He's here. When he finally goes down, they're like literally like laying next to each other. And I was like, I have an unsecured apartment. I have an unsecured knife. He's literally still mother effing us, banging his head on the cement. And we got her bleeding out. We got things to do, bro. Like, it's time to do work. So I said, hey, I'll provide lethal cover. I need you to drag her away from him. Okay, we did that. Okay, handcuff that dude. Comms just start blowing up. So I'm doing comms. I'm doing this. At this point, I mean, this call is maybe 30 seconds in, and there's probably already 14 people with their cell phones out. Oh, that cop just shot someone. They're, I'm sure, live streaming, doing whatever. And I had to turn back. I was like, hey, man, like, you guys need to get back. And I realized she's bleeding, and she's bleeding bad. And I was like, if we have any chance of saving her, we got to get on medics right here. Hey, man, like, get medics in here. My medic bag was in my patrol car about 70 feet away. I was thinking about running there, but I'm like, I can't leave my partner here. Because, again, we have an unsecured apartment. We have an unsecured knife. This dude, he's handcuffed, but he's still mother effing us, banging his head on the thing. We got 14 of the Vista citizens with their cell phones. I can't leave my partner alone. And I'm trying to think, like, on the fly, like, hey, man, like, what are we going to do? Another citizen came up. She's got her phone. I said, put your phone down. I need some towels. Thank God she was actually someone who ran and stopped filming to go get towels. She came back, and this woman was literally covered in blood from it dripping off her hair to her toes.
That's wild.
It literally looked like she got out of a bathtub of blood. And I was like, I don't even know how to even start triaging this. So I took one of the bath towels that I got from a citizen, and I literally just squeegeed her back looking for holes. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I stopped counting at 8. I was like, you got to start plugging. I had my knee plugging one hole, a knee plugging another hole. I had, this hand plugging another hole, this hand plugging another hole. And then we got dispatch coming up. I'm like, yeah, we need this. Going back to, and I knew that she was dying because she's, at first was like, I'm going to die, like I'm dying. And I was like, hun, we went way too far today for you to die on me today. We're walking out of this thing. But then I see, her breathing slowing down. She's saying less. She's not moving around as much. And I'm like, and at one point I'm like on the radio, I'm like, we need medics in here now. Like, cause I know it's getting close. And I'm just doing medical, telling my partner, like, kind of what to do medical. And I'll never forget, and I won't name him, but he comes around, the next person that comes on scene, he's military vet, and he's been doing this job a long time. And I remember that was the first time in that call where I felt some sort of relief. When I saw his face, I was like, thank God this person is here. Ran up, cool, you got that, he got that, what do you need? Hey, that apartment's unsecured. I believe there's still kids in there. The knife's in the threshold. Hold that. Copy that. And I was like, thank God. When you have that person that you've done, stuff with, hot calls with, or their prior experience, and you see that person, there is a psychological sigh of relief that you will never know until you're in that situation. And I remember seeing him, and I'm like, I have never been happier to see you in my life, bro.
It's weird when you mention that because in mine, cops were showing up and it was like, okay. And then you see somebody and then you already know it's going to get handled. And like,
yes,
I know the feeling that you're talking about. And to see that at that time with so many people around you dealing with that person, the suspect, still unknown how many people are in the house. Like, those are feelings that actually help calm you down to really start to process what's going on. And then you feel like, okay, now we can start handling stuff.
Yeah. I mean, because from from the moment I went up to that door to like the shooting, you're talking 20 seconds. And then you're dealing with aftercare, doing medics, or medical care. You're dealing with the citizens that are closing in on you, getting, towels that you could start doing it. You got 5 million thought processes going through your brain in 45 seconds. And like for him to come up, like you said, it was like you're overwhelmed. Like your brain is overwhelmed because you have so many tasks and things that need to get done and you're doing them yourself that it's like, now at least you're like, okay, cool. Like I can take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit and give some of, these tasks to this guy. And I'm good with giving those tasks because I know that dude's been tested and like he's got the thumbs up. And man, just the sigh of relief was like, oh my God.
So she ends up surviving, correct? Ultimately.
She does.
That's amazing. And he does not, the suspect.
He does.
Oh, he does survive.
He does.
Okay. What's the status of him?
He got sentenced in May while I was out at the National Police Week to 33 to life.
Wow, good.
A minimum of 18 years before he has a chance of parole. And he took all 3 rounds. I don't know how.
Where did he get shot at?
The first round was lower center mass. Second round I pushed and blew out his arm up here, and then third round was center mass right between the nipples.
Of course he lived. That's crazy.
And I was told that because he was not completely upright, they believe, of the angles and whatever, hit his sternum and went south.
Well, I think you talked about how you recognize. I think this is, to me, this is like one of the most important things that you've mentioned so far, is that there came a point when you recognize that you're complacent, and that takes a lot of like self-reflection to really analyze that. And then to go back and talk with Poncho, but look at Bodycam, talk to him about it, and start realizing, am I actually good enough? And then Kyle and I were huge advocates of training and mentally training and doing scenarios. And there's plenty of people that say, well, we don't do the what if game. Well, the what if game is situations that get you through this, because
Keeps you alive.
you talk about
Yeah,
all these
totally.
crazy things, and you think it through and you think it through. And then this situation happens. You get a kind of a low level sounding call, but you're connecting the dots. And I think it's important to highlight that you processed a ton of stuff very, very rapidly. Showing up on scene, seeing the kid, recognizing the face, looking at the layout, the new apartment, on the radio, like actually putting out what apartment number you are, because nobody knew that. Your partner didn't know that at the time. Seeing that, like, in recognizing, I heard that scream, I'm there. Now I checked the door handle, because you made that decision, which there are officers that may delay or not even make that decision or wait for their partner. You already made it, and you can clearly see it in the body camera. You never even had to tell me. I already knew that you were going. You checked it. You stepped back like you're going to kick it. Once the door is open, you have to process that, recognizing it's a 2-story. Where are these other kids? Like, you computed a ton of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that happened in that 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah, I wrote down, one of the notes I took was the approach when you said why you didn't go in immediately or want to go in or whatever. And I think, and I heard what you said, and I agree with all that. But one thing that stands out to me, being involved in a lot of situations where it is life and death, I think it's easy to tell yourself that you would do something when you haven't experienced it yet. But then when you do experience a moment like that, your brain is telling you, I'm not going to Leroy Jenkins this, like you had said, and put myself in a situation where I know the dude has a knife. He just stabbed this chick. This is a bloody mess. He's clearly in it for the long, like, this dude's in it, right? Like,
Yeah.
He's fucking not backing down. Your brain is going to tell you, that's dangerous. That could kill me. I'm not going to put myself in that position. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. And
No, but just real quick though, I was talking about the initial entry. You're talking about once the door is open.
Yeah. Once
Oh,
your
yes,
brain
yeah.
processes all of
Yeah.
that, which you did, it's easy for a cop to watch something like that and go, oh, I would have just ran in there and 10x that guy.
Yeah.
Well, odds are you probably wouldn't, because your brain would say, the fuck I am. Like, I'm not going to run to my death. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, that's where the training comes in, where you're talking about all these mental rehearsals in your head of putting yourself in that situation to at least not get yourself to run to your death, but, maybe give yourself a better angle like you did and be able to, if it's a shooting scenario, then to shoot that guy. But
I think slipping.
Yeah, like, I think the cop that does just run into that, like, they're not thinking clearly. And that's even more dangerous.
And that's what's so weird. And that's where, when I tell people, like, you don't have time to think in a shooting.
You're not, it's hard to explain it, I guess.
Like until you've been there, like, you can think like, oh, I'm going to see this, and then I'm going to do this. And like, your brain is thinking that, but like, you don't recognize it's thinking that.
It's almost autopilot.
Yes.
It's like autopilot.
And how good you operate in autopilot is based completely on how much training you have, how serious you take your training, experience. It turns into complete reaction, and
I don't know if it's
just
reaction.
Instinct.
I'm going to go with you're making decisions continuously, like immediately.
And you are,
but it's almost like an autopilot decision, because honestly, dude, and at least my first shooting, I don't recall telling myself to shoot my gun. I just shot my gun, and at the end of this whole thing, it was like, holy fuck, did I just do that? I don't remember telling myself to do that. I just did it.
Yeah.
So
And exactly, because it was like so it was like red light, green light. Like obviously my brain's it's processing that she's slipping. It's processing that she's between me and him, and I don't have a good, line. It's processing all that, and it's thinking that, and it's perceiving all that, but it just tells your brain, nope. Like, because it knows, like you're
weird.
taking in so much that your brain says anything more than yes or no is going to overload the system. And same thing with like shooting through a blind doorway. It's like, training. You got a SWAT guy going, you never shoot through a blind doorway.
I feel like the dudes who just send rounds or they don't shoot or they just run in or whatever, that's the person I'm concerned about. They weren't thinking.
Yeah.
Like someone who just arbitrarily just starts shooting, which we've seen videos of that. You're like, what? Dude, what are you thinking? Like they're not thinking. So I feel like that's the difference. It's hard for people watching this, or they're probably trying to wrap their heads around this. And it is hard to explain if you've never been in that situation. And I know cops that are watching this or listening to it right now who have, they know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just based on experience. That's all. What's crazy is as you're describing this story and as I watched it on your body cam, I had a pretty eerie, very similar circumstance. I won't get into full detail, but it was like literally the same scenario, except when the gal was on the other side of the door, same thing. I could hear her screaming for help. I was going to boot the door because it was locked. And as I stepped back, you said it, dude, and I thought of it. I heard the click of the door lock, and my brain was thinking, oh, cool, the door's unlocked. And then it kind of pops open a little bit, and I force it open, and the same thing, I see this chick in a pool of blood, and the dude had basically, he had this thing wrapped around her neck. It looked like tassels from a rug or something. Okay. To this day, I still don't even know what it was, but it was something wrapped around her neck, and he was choking her with it, but he had beaten her with a baseball bat. And when the door popped open, I grabbed her and yanked her out from the threshold. He backs up into the apartment. She's barely conscious, and then he slams the door shut. So then it turns into a barricade, and long story short, he ends up hours later coming out and charges at us with the knife and got shot. He got shot and killed in that. But super similar circumstances, just hearing you say that and me going back to that call of the door popping open and seeing this chick in a pool of blood and this dude strangling her. It's a trip, man, on what decision are you going to make?
And that's the thing. Until you're in that situation, you can what if, but it will 99% of the time not line up with what actually happens.
That's why Mark and I are really big on, and I think it boils down to real life experience. But you know, on social media, I don't know if you're on social media, but you see all of these platforms who they solely focus on shooting. And I'm good with that. And I want to say I said this in the last class that we taught in Nashville. I was like, dude, that's super important. Totally get it. But I think what's more important is, are you mentally capable to be able to process something like that, to even use your gun if you had to use lethal force? To me, it starts with mental first and then be a good shot. Because if you can't, your gun is useless.
And even the knowledge base. If you don't know 835A that we're all under now, if you don't know and you don't understand 835A and you can't articulate in your mind at that time, you're good to shoot under 835A, like you said, you could be the best shot in the world, but.
And that's just California law. And for those wondering what's 835A, that's our ability to use force on somebody. And it has changed quite drastically over the last couple of years with the new law that has rolled out. But just any cop anywhere, any state, knowing their own laws and what they can and can't do, and being able to articulate why they did what they did.
And Mark brought up a good point of, playing the what if game. Even when I was an FTO on the streets, I would always tell my rookies, and I tell them to do it because that's what I do. I always play, I'm going to do this, ... You get called to whatever, a trespassing call. Hey, if he's outside, I'm going to do this. If he's inside, I'm going to do this. If it's someone armed with a knife, same thing. If I show up and he's gone, I'm going to, drive around. If he shows up, if I show up and he's just standing there and he just has a knife in his hand, but he's, you know, just doing tweaker things, this is what I'm going to do. If I show up and he's, you know, brandishing it towards people, this is what. The more that you can start loading your brain up about possible, I guess, avenues of what could happen when you show up, when you're faced with that avenue, when you show up, I think you're better prepared mentally.
Oh, 100%.
Because you've already thought like, hey, if he's outside and he's brandishing, I know he's on this street corner. I know this is a backdrop. I'm going to block the road at Wilson and Fremont. And I know that's a backdrop. I'm going to stop right there in the intersection. I'm going to stop. The more that you get that pre-planned, even though it might not be the actual execution of the plan, but the more that you get that plan in motion, when you see what you see when you show up, you're light years ahead than just being out, you know, being complacent in your head, you know, singing along to whatever song. And all of a sudden now this dude's got his little girlfriend, you know, with a knife to her neck. And you're like, wait, I thought this was a trespassing call. Like, I didn't know this, you know, just all of that stuff. If you preload yourself, you set yourself up far better for performing.
I think what you're describing right now is those people, and this applies to any job, that go the extra distance to be good at what they're doing. Because you could pass the academy, you could become an officer, and you can be baseline. The baseline is you meet the job description, you do the bare minimum, it's acceptable.
And you just hope to make it out at the end of
Yeah,
your career.
and there's plenty of people that do that. They watch YouTube on their cell phone all shift long. Hopefully you're watching this podcast. Time and place for watching videos, raining, whatever, take a break. But when you use that description of the what ifs, you play things out, you talk to your partners, you're spending time talking about all this stuff, you're actually preparing yourself mentally, which we're advocates for. So when those situations happen, and I want to bring up Kyle and I kind of talked earlier of what type of a call is this? Not 100% knowing. You're getting intel from minimal information from dispatch, but then you're getting that immediate intel from that the girl, ends up being the daughter. And you're recognizing her face, how she's saying it. When she turns around, there's blood. Like, those are all indicators of things that are confirming what could be happening. And then you go up to a front door and then you hear stuff inside of screams. And that is the biggest scenario to think about, is if you are willing or have the capability or even thought about, what am I going to do when you hear that? Because I've heard it, you've heard it, many officers have heard that inside. Some choose not to go, but some choose to go. And I don't know if there's a way to really describe that decision, but that's really like, how do you prepare for that? Hearing that inside.
Yeah, I think that is the mental rehearsal of scenarios in your head. And that's why it's so important. Yeah, I mean, man, that's wild. There's a lot to learn from this. And I think as people are listening, even as a citizen, if you're listening to this, you might find yourself in a situation where in today's day and age, maybe it's an active shooter, or maybe you're at a grocery store and some weirdo decides to do something crazy. Being able to think your way out of that, whether it's to run away, get away, you know, call 911, provide specific information to get the cops there. There's a lot of value to playing scenarios like that out in your head. You don't have to just be a cop. I think that's just having good wherewithal to, if you're in a situation, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, because I mean, if you walk up to it flat-footed,
you're screwed, dude. You're screwed. And you see cops do it all the time. I've been on several shootings where shots are fired and dudes are running the other way and hiding, and you never see them the rest of the call. And it's just because that's just the reality of it. But I bet you if you were to ask them, hey, in this scenario, what would you do? They would say, oh, well, I would do this. And then it happens and they do the opposite. So that is real life. That is really happens. And so that's why we share stories like this if you are doing this job, you need to think about that.
Well, this was a wild call. When I watched it, literally the text response I sent Kyle was just basically like, just a bunch of wows and like, what in the F? Like, you're right. That was like the devil opening the door and standing behind it.
Crazy.
I really appreciate the fact that you highlighted the fact that you had complacency, because that takes a lot, like I said, to recognize that and then to do this, because I guarantee you probably would not have responded like that if you didn't self-reflect and improve your skills in your training. You took a ton. I think the Stockton Police Department should be very happy to have you and the citizens for you to be protecting them. You did, this is wild, and you did everything that was expected. I know you said you're not a hero. That kid that ran out is a hero, but you prevented that mom from passing. So you are a hero on that for sure.
Yeah, I feel terrible for that whole family, all those kids.
Yeah.
That is super traumatizing.
Yeah.
I mean, that 13-year-old will, I know you'll never forget it, but man, she'll never forget that the rest of her life. I mean, that is going to affect her as long as she lives.
Yeah.
And she will remember you. So, I mean, I don't know.
And thank you for the kind words. I'm still kind of trying to work on being able to accept that,
you don't have to. You don't have to. Just hear it.
But like, I have done some follow up with her. Unfortunately, she also saw the shooting, and all kinds of different emotions. Right? Like, I'm a dad, and like, like, not only you as a human doing that, but then like, you're a dad and you did that. Like, you forced me to shoot you in front of your daughter, like, after they already saw everything inside. She's actually doing better in school than she was before, now that he's out of the house.
Yeah, maybe all that stress and being in that
I appreciate
lifestyle.
that you've followed with this family, because that has to make a difference with those kids in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like these cops in a uniform just showed up and this happened. Like you're still there to support.
That 13-year-old girl, like, I'd go to her 8th grade graduation. I'd go to her high school graduation, because what she did that day was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think me as a 13-year-old, I'd have had the stones to do that.
Well, I thank you for coming in. You said that your wife woke up with a minor cough.
Actually, he described it as hacking.
You're right.
Like
I was trying to be pretty mellow about it. Yeah.
No, call it for what it is, dude. Like, if we're gonna be on a public forum, let's get him in trouble with his wife.
Yeah.
He said hacking.
Well, yeah, but then he was also like, I'm really stoked that I got to drive an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, by myself
Yeah.
in peace.
Yeah,
and-
real fun 4-hour turnaround drive.
All right, just kidding. He didn't say that part.
Yeah.
But, we thank you for not coming in hacking in the background.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that she was advocating for that. I'm like, it's fine. Like,
you wanted to hear it in the
well,
background?
I didn't want to hear that per se, but like, I was like, there's probably like a lobby, or it's a big enough area. Like, you can be like,
She could have hung out on the beach outside, dude. Like,
apparently,
Yeah.
had I
paradise out here.
had I known that there was a luau happening at noon.
You're all, babe, bring your putter.
Do you think you would have told us that weird, creepy, but not creepy scooter story if she was here?
Oh, she's already heard it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, she wanted to come. She's like, I'm sorry. Like, I totally wanted to be there for you. I guess this is the appropriate time to give her a shout out. Like, she's been through it all with me. It's easy to see, like, we just kind of get compartmentalized. It's just us going through the shit, but they're doing a 30-year sentence too. And it's easy to get burned out. It's easy to take the stress of the job home, which, I definitely did a poor job of that earlier on. And she's been through me with the good times, the bad times, the really bad times. From day one of this shooting, man, she has been behind me. I cannot say enough. I'm the luckiest man in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mark talks about that a lot too. About
the loved ones at home, the spouses that are there to support, deal with a lot, and oftentimes they
don't ask for it. Like, even my wife was like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I had some reservations because whatever, but she's like, I knew this was something you needed to do.
Yeah,
and
they're kind of the quiet ones in the background that deserve a lot, and they don't often get the time and platform that they deserve. But
there are some wives that come to parties, and sometimes you're telling your buddy, like, hey, maybe we bring or leave her at home next time.
Yeah.
Let's not bring her around to cop parties anymore.
Well, do you have any other creepy stories to tell us? Or
No, there's no creepy.
If you want to cast shade on Mark, now's the time.
Cash in?
We're all pretty good about that. What?
What are you talking about?
Cachet on you?
Oh,
Like-
cachet. That's they said cash in. I was like,
No, cachet. Like, is there anything that you need to? No. Okay.
I don't know why you're trying to start.
You got a new tattoo going on?
I did. I just started working on another sleeve.
Didn't even tell me you were getting it.
No,
I noticed it.
I know you were very nice about it.
It's like when you trim your beard and shit. I'm like, oh, you trimmed your beard. It looks good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Thanks for coming in.
Dude, thank you very much, my man.
Thank you guys for having
coming in
me.
For doing
Yeah.
this. Yeah,
And,
it's going to help a lot of people. These stories do help a lot of people.
I hope so. And I was hesitant to go.
I know you
public
called me
with this.
3 times, and one of the times I was in my pool for like an hour on the phone with you. I was like, all right, Mark, I got to get going, dude. I'm half naked.
Yeah, Kyle
Like,
keeps
what are you
calling. He's
doing?
like, dude, why does this guy keep calling me?
Yeah.
He just
You going to
won't-
do this or not? I don't.
Yeah.
Do I need to talk you into it? Are you scared? What are we doing?
Well, big shout out to the Stockton Police
Yeah.
Department for
Letting
supporting
you do it.
this. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. You feel good about it?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well,
All right.
we didn't actually hit record. Sorry. All right, everybody, stay safe and be smart.
Later.
We'll see you guys.